eventually you've got to let your ego die. Like, if you want to have healthier relationships, if you want to have deeper relationships, let your ego die. And what I think ego death is about, it's when you don't get offended when people tell you that there's a change that they would like. When someone that cares about you and someone that you care about speaks to you and they propose a change that they would wish that you would make, instinctively, you might immediately get offended. You might try and get defensive. You might try and be like, no, I don't do that. You've got me wrong. Or start pointing out their flaws. And the only reason that you would do that is because them pointing out an imperfection of you has hurt your ego. It hurts your ego. It would hurt everyone's. And no one likes being told that they're wrong. No one likes being told that they are doing something wrong. No one likes being told that they're not perfect, because it hurts the ego. But when you let the ego die, you won't get offended, because instead of being offended by something that someone says, you try and empathize with it. You try and understand where the root of this idea has came to them. You know, you try and see it from their perspective, where they've had to experience a negative feeling. They have felt shitty from something that you've done. And they've had the courage to confront you about it, which confrontation is so hard. It's so hard to be confrontational. But yet, so this person cares about you enough to the point where they're not just going to let the relationship die. They're not just going to give up on it. No, they want to communicate with you effectively and clearly and show you their perspective and their side of it. And for them to do that, it's impressive. And you need to be patient. You need to not get offended. You need to not get hurt. You need to empathize. You need to understand what you did and how it made them feel. And when you have let the ego die and you are able to understand it and you are able to empathize, it will open you up to a whole new realm of just clarity and just peace, because all of a sudden you're not getting offended by people. It doesn't hurt me when someone says that there's something that I'm doing wrong, because I'm doing it wrong. When I say this, I mean it from a small part of your personality. You know, someone has mentioned a behavior that you have. Someone has mentioned a reaction that you have, and they've gone off these things, and that is what they want you to change. It's not gonna, if it is someone that cares about you, they're not going to want you to change a massive part of your personality, because it's going to be the reason why they're here with you in the first place. If they didn't like your personality at all, then they wouldn't bother changing it, because the bigger parts of the personality, like your interests and stuff, those won't change. And if someone did try and change them, then you shouldn't change like that for someone else, because then you're not being you. You're not being authentic, and you're not being you to your fullest. And so when someone does mention something that they would like you to change, it's most of the time just going to be something so small, so simple. And that is where the ego would get hurt the most, because you would see it as something so small that you should just dismiss it. And you can't understand why they aren't dismissing it. And then it starts building up. And it's like, well, hang about. Why are you pointing out this part of me when you have this bad trait? And there might be some honesty in a reaction like that, where they do have a trait that you don't like, but you shouldn't react. You shouldn't bring it up as like a pawn in a chess game. You know, you shouldn't have it as a little move that you've saved in the bank. You know, if you have a problem with them, you should communicate it to them, because if they don't have an ego either, you can have this mutual understanding and this mutual respect where you're finding what each of you would like to have from the other person, and you can build up a stronger and healthier relationship. And having the empathy with each other, that creates such a special bond where not only are you thinking about yourself in a relationship, you're not just thinking about what you want, you're mutual with this person. That is what being on the same team is. If you think of it like a video game, you know, if I'm playing a video game, I'm trying to help out my teammate, and my teammate's going to try and help out me. And if there's something that they're doing wrong, I want to bring it up to them so they can change it, so we can do better as a team. Yeah, that's the idea. And you can't, if someone brings it up to you and you get offended and you don't make that change, and you're not happy with the relationship, but you're also not willing to change. And I mean, if you are happy with the relationship, but they're not, and you're not willing to change, well, then that relationship probably does not have that much longevity. Of course, I can't speak for you entirely. You might just have a relationship where there's no changes needed. You guys just get it. You guys just understand. You guys are just on the same wavelength. And it's each to their own. You know, everyone's unique, and everyone's relationship with everyone else is also unique. But if you want to make a relationship work, and this isn't just a romantic relationship, by the way, this is any sort of relationship. If you want it to work and they want it to work, you both have to be willing to change. You can't both refuse to listen, refuse to understand, and refuse to empathize and expect to have a healthy relationship, because I can't fathom that happening. You know, empathy is probably the biggest part that any person can have of their personality. You know, when you start to swallow your pride and you kind of get confidence out of it, because you're not getting these hits to your confidence from this damage to your ego, because your ego is how you perceive your own importance to other people. Like how your ego is it's how important you think you should be. You know, how important you think you should be to other people, and how perfect you are. And there's a lot of confidence that can come from that, because feeling like you're perfect and you feel like you can't do anything wrong, it's got to make you feel good, because, hey, I'm in the right. Everyone likes being right. Why wouldn't you like being right? But when someone tells you that you're wrong, if you're able to listen to it, learn from it, experience it, change it, talk about it, it adds so much depth to you as a person, you know? And these people that are coming up with this, they would care about you. And if someone cares about me and there's something that they want me to change, something that I do that makes them uncomfortable, something that I do that makes them unhappy, well, I care about them just as much as they care about me. And so why would I not want to change? Because they make me this happy. So I want to do everything in my power to make them as happy as they make me. And people need to understand that so much more, because feeling what someone else feels and not getting hatred from it, not getting this defensiveness, you know, this lashing out, these reactions. If someone can point out a flaw in you as a person, and you can listen, you can understand, you can take your time, it shows so much as a person. It shows so much. And from that, you can gain so much power, because you're willing to change. And By power, I mean like it's this self-respect that you earn because you're doing what's right. You're treating people right. You're doing things the way that they're supposed to be done. And no one can hate you for that. And if they do hate you for something like that, well, that's more of an issue with them than an issue with you. Because if you've done everything in your power and it's still not enough for them, well, then they probably have higher expectations, or they've got their own issues that they're dealing with that they are then portraying onto you, which that's not your problem. You know, it's not that to you. And the thing is, if you guys are watching this video and I'm annoying you and you're not liking what I'm saying, that is probably because you're feeling defensive. And that defensiveness would come from being hurt. And you're being hurt because I'm hurting your ego, because I'm telling you that you should change. And that change means that you're not perfect. And that's an imperfection, which again ties into the ego. And I'm not perfect either. You know, I'm not some self-righteous, self-prestigious person. No, I'll mess up as much as everyone else does. But I spend time to understand my mistakes, and I feel like a lot more people need to do that. You know, if you're getting defensive at this video, reflect on that. You know, don't hate me for pointing something out to you. You know, don't shoot the messenger. You know, that's all it is. Just take time, reflect, learn, and love. You know, that's all you got to spread, guys. All right.